Great cast on the day. I'm here with the victorious Inori after a 3-0, where you looked completely dominant. And did you guys think it was going to be such a good series for you coming into it?
Actually, I didn't really expect it to be that easy. Like, no offense to Echo Fox, our scrims were going really bad, but I was kind of confident that we'd do well, and I'm happy we were able to 3-0.
And so speaking a little bit about you, a little bit about your season as a whole, you obviously were not able to join the season at the start of the split. When you did join, you made such a big impact. A lot of people talking about you. You've had fun picks. You've taken games, with Rengar, with Mordekaiser, with all these good things. And a lot of people are going to be having, very high expectations for you guys for next season. Are you guys going to be staying together as a team? And are you excited to kind of prove yourself in a full split?
I just want to be with the P1 organization just because of how good it was. So I'm happy I was able to keep them in the LCS. But I don't know about roster. Like, it's going to be a long break because we don't have playoffs. I really wanted to go to playoffs too, but who knows, maybe next split. And I don't know. I'm just happy about everything that happened today.
For sure, as you should be. And I mean, if you had the first half the same as you had the second half, you perhaps could have been in that playoff picture. And you guys have been performing very well. But that is going to be up for us here. And we're going to send it back to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Azale. Congratulations to Inori and the rest of the Phoenix One squad. A 3-0 victory here over Echo Fox, re-cementing themselves in the LCS for the 2017 season. As Jat mentioned, kind of putting the kibosh on any naysayers. Anyone who said that this team didn't deserve to be there, they have proven it today.
Well, they're a different team than the one that went 0-9 in the first half.
Right.
There were a lot of, honestly, they were a bit of a joke. To be completely honest, people were saying, hey, this squad, it's a little embarrassing that they're even in the LCS. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, they make it back in. They prove that they're LCS caliber. They prove that they belong here. So Phoenix One, now they get to go in with that impression behind them into 2017. And what momentum that's going to give them, well, I don't know, but I'm really excited to watch them.
Upward trend through the end of the season, or through the end of the regular season, into a very impressive 3-0 here against Echo Fox, where they look just as good, if not better, than their form in Week 9. Let's take a look at how they did it here in Game 3. Big things to take note of course, is the fact that Pyrian goes back to that Talia. It was mentioned by the casters. A slightly better performance this time around than the previous game. But more importantly, Malzahar once again for Froggen, so running that back 3 times. And then, of course, the GP pick by Zig in the top lane, which definitely struggled.
Yeah, it struggled a bit against that Aurelia. Just CS early on. I believe there was a lane swap as well. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, I don't.
Well, no, it was standard lanes. It was standard lanes, but
yeah.
at level 6, we saw the threat that Aurelia has on the GP, although not securing the kill, forcing him out of lane, garnering a pretty large CS lead, so...
Yeah, I get my games mixed up. My first time actually dealing with the doubles.
That's very true. Watching 2 games at once is definitely a challenge. You at home who are doing it, we're impressed by that as well.
Seriously.
But let's go ahead and dive into the game itself then. 18:40 into the game is the one big fight that we're going to take a look at. This is Phoenix One starting near the Dragon here, picking up an extended 4 kills. It'll move all the way to the top lane.
Yeah, great. They remove the passive from Froggen. Then they're able to actually pick him up with that CC from the Cocoon. And then, they engage on Zig top lane. TP comes through. They're using so much here, but you are so deep. You are at your enemy's tier 2 turret. You just saw them in the river killing your mid laner. And, oh God.
Yep.
Now, they just get collapsed on. And it's like, why are you that far forward when you don't have control of that side of your jungle anymore? And that's just a macro mistake there from Echo Fox. And it's good on P1 to punish that. Because if you let them get away with that, they get your tier 2 very quickly. And I don't understand what Echo Fox really wanted to accomplish there and why they decided to keep pushing for it. Maybe they thought they'd kill Zig and then they can actually fight for him it, but it's still a very desperate move.
The elements and aspects of the game that Echo Fox have struggled with the most throughout this split have been those macro plays, right? We've seen them lane decently. We've seen them build CS leads as they did across all 3 lanes in Game 2 of this series. But when it comes to actually making rotations, setting up vision around objectives, particularly in this series, I noticed that Phoenix One's vision control as compared to Echo Fox was far superior.
Yeah, and once you start having a jungler that's far ahead, invades, gets in there, he's just going to be establishing vision in places that you can no longer check. Right. So it's like, sorry, the Elise is in my jungle now. I can't check that bush because she's just going to combo me. I need help to do that, and then I need somebody to help sweep it. So it just ends up being a whole fiasco where you lose control of your jungle. Vision is just everywhere. It's not a safe place for you anymore.
Right, yeah.
But they did a really good job of pressuring their ward lines up. I will definitely give Phoenix One that.
Very much so. Well, now to recognize the standout star for Phoenix One, leading his team to a 3-0 sweep, it's going to go to Inori. Important also to recognize the fact that he was targeted in bans here in this third game. So Fox recognizing that he is the largest threat, throwing a Hecarim and Rek'Sai ban. He still has Elise. He still performs on it.
Still got Rengar too. A little sad he didn't go for that.
Rengar,
I was like,
man.
come on, man. Give me the game.
I want the
Rengar.
Kha'Zix next. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I love me some
let's
solo queue
go.
Kha'Zix.
But still, Inori, he's leading his team to a 3-0 victory, but at the same time, this is the guy that turned around Phoenix One's split. This is the guy that came in. Everybody was saying, like, oh, he's talking about how he can, turn this team around. Oh, we would have won that game if Inori was in. And everybody's like, yeah, sure, whatever. You guys have so many problems. It's like, nope. Inori comes in. They start blasting some kids. They get in here, and now they're back in the LCS. And this guy's a monster. He's an aggressive jungler, and he's up against any jungler that's going to show any passivity. He preys on that weakness, and him and Pyrion play very well together. It's actually a little astounding because Pyrion is a guy that I didn't know would have that type of communication with a jungler that speaks a different native language.
Right, yeah, and it's great to see that duo move into the other lanes, right? We see the Taliyah pickup. Great, now we're going to utilize that to throw dives into other lanes. And it's great to see the jungler pair up with the mid laner, push in the lane, and rotate together. That's a higher level strategy. Great, one of our lower tier LCS teams is picking up on that, and they are improving at an insanely rapid rate. I guess my final question here would be, as they aren't going to playoffs, as they do now have months of time to gear up for next season, what would you like to see, assuming the roster stays the same, out of Phoenix One next? Like, what is the next element of their game that they need to master?
I feel like Phoenix One, more often than not, they'll actually sack their bottom lane with Mash and leave that out to dry and really focus on mid lane and sometimes top. Zig is a great TP player, so they can play towards the bottom. I feel as though they become one-dimensional by having Inori get ahead, get mid lane ahead, then maybe go top, then come bottom, and Mash will farm sideways. I want to see some of those habits kind of expanded. Don't want Mash on those side lanes, able to get caught out when it's like really inappropriate to be there. And I also want to see them play a diverse play style where they can camp that bottom lane.
Okay, so yeah, we have an understanding of a few high-level strategies, and we're executing on them now. Well, it's about expanding our playbook, finding more ways to win. Exactly, I love that. All right, well, now let's take a look at the updated promotion tournament bracket. Today's winners, Cloud9 Challenger and Phoenix One, have survived the tournament and earned their spot on the 2017 NA LCS roster. They can rest easy tonight knowing they are among North America's elite players. Energy and Echo Fox were not victorious today, but have one more chance to qualify to the LCS tomorrow. That action will hit your screens immediately following the final match of the European promotion tournament between FC Schalke 04 and Misfits. Now, that broadcast starts at 8 a.m. Pacific, so make sure you're up early to catch those games, because that's going to be a very interesting one. I don't think a lot of people thought that Schalke would end up in the losers match of this one, fighting for the final remaining spot of the LCS.
Yeah, they're very close to having like 7th place and like avoiding all of this, maybe even playoffs for themselves. So Schalke, they've showed a lot of prowess during the early parts of the split, and then everybody started passing them a bit. Everybody's really surprised at Schalke, and now I feel like they're in a little bit of an envy position where they looked really good, and now everybody got better. They kind of stayed a little bit stagnant. And, I'm very familiar with players like Gilius in the jungle. I think he can pull out a victory here against Misfits, but Misfits has this lineup of players like Alfari that I just keep hearing like, they're really good in the top lane. Like, they're going to crush kids.
Right.
But
they didn't get the victory in their first series. This is their last chance to get promoted, of course, for Schalke. They're defending their position in the LCS, essentially. So that's going to be an exciting matchup tomorrow morning. Now let's talk about this Echo Fox versus Energy matchup. One of our two teams, one of our two LCS teams is going to get relegated tomorrow, is not making it back in. For the other, it's career saving, essentially, right? This is their final chance to get back into it. What do you feel are going to be the major pinpoints, linchpins for either of these teams and their success tomorrow?
I really think the draft needs to be shored up for both of these teams. Yes. Echo Fox tried the same thing over and over and over again.
Too one-dimensional.
It's actually insanity because they keep trying the same thing, expecting a winning result.
A different result.
And I want to see more aggression out of that jungle. They're playing a little bit more towards Froggen. Hard, gank that lane, get the flash, come back to that lane, bring your support sometimes, get that 3-man roam going, set Froggen ahead, because we've seen him on things like Lissandra, where once he's ahead, he will keep making the plays, and that's how Echo Fox close games out. But to go to the other team, to Energy here, Well, GBM's looking a little bit off kilter right now. It's hard for Santorin to set up all these ganks on the top and bottom sides of the map, and even the mid, it looked like it was really difficult for him to get in there today. And
well, we saw in Game 3 a 30 CS lead opened up in the mid lane in a LeBlanc versus Ari matchup before they even hit the 10-minute mark. It was absolutely absurd. So GBM against Froggen is going to definitely be a matchup that we keep close eyes on. Of course, then I agree with you. Another lopsided jungle matchup for Hard, where he already had his work cut out for him with Inori. I think almost just as much has his work cut out for him with Santorin. As you mentioned, you think Santorin is the best player not in playoffs. Yeah. And so if that's who I've got to go up against on the other side, my job's not getting any easier as Hard trying to help my team from the jungle.
Yeah, I feel as though Hard, he can actually look at what Santorin is doing. Like, you don't have to be a playmaking jungler. You don't have to be.
You don't need to be Inori.
This crazy Inori or like Dardoch player. You can be a player that has like consistency. You're able to gank a lane. If you get the flash, you're going to revisit that lane. You don't have to go for crazy dives or anything. Just even if you chunk him out, it's fine. It's a victory. I want to see him put himself out there more and get those dives. And I think that Echo Fox, this is a game that, depending on the drafts and also depending on if they adjust and how the junglers do, this jungler mid lane is what I'm looking at here. I think Froggen is performing better than GBM, but I think that Santorin is performing better than Hard. Whoever gets the advantage in that matchup, I think, will win the series.
And I do think, though, that it is rather unfortunate looking at the Fox lineup and the way that the season has developed. I don't see a playmaker on that team. The only person would be Froggen on a few of those picks, as you mentioned, like from the early parts of the season when he was playing the likes of Lissandra, right? Something that has an engaged tool. He was definitely decisive in those points of the season, but now relegated to like Malzahar, Vladimir, those kinds of things is not necessarily a way for him to start the fights and make the plays. He still needs another person to initiate, and it seems to be lacking from the rest of the roster.
Yeah, it's almost never big, but sometimes it's KFO on the Gnar. Sometimes he's getting those champions, but he definitely prefers split pushers. He definitely prefers Fiora. I'm really excited for that matchup. Like, talking about which matchup is going to win is that jungle mid, but the matchup I'm most excited to watch is Quas versus KFO. Like, somebody's going to get beat up, and it's probably both them swapping games. They're probably going to beat the crap out of each other, and that's going to be a really fun matchup.
Well, and it's an interesting matchup because they don't have too much of a shared pool. As you just mentioned, KFO loves to go for the Fiora, right? We've got Quas over here on the Jackson, the Alawi, right? And so we have and he's not going to pick up Aurelia, as we've seen. And so then, of course, you still have to mix in the likes of the Gnars, which has just become a very classic pick for these teams. So the meta of this series, I think in particular, when we talk about Champ Select, is going to be interesting to see how it evolves. Today, there was a lot of focus on Malzahar. Might not happen out of Fox tomorrow. I'd like to see him off of that champion, and then that top lane meta as it develops will be very interesting.
Yeah, and I think both mid laners are really gravitating towards that Malzahar. Want to see a little bit more. I know they both love Vladimir too, but it's so hard to get your hands on those champions. Talia has been played as a counter to Malzahar and affects side lanes. If Froggen can play Talia, maybe he goes back on that. Cassiopeia is great for him too, but that top lane. Drafts. I want to see the drafts.
Look, everything is on the line tomorrow. It is going to be an incredibly exciting series to watch. Now, one more thing before we sign off. Facebook Live is back this afternoon, and we've invited Inori to join us for an interview and a chance to answer your questions. So check out facebook.com/LulEsports in about 5 minutes to see it live. That's it for the stream, though. So on behalf of myself, Zyrene, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well done, dude.
Yeah, you too.
Which of these two teams is getting into the LCS? This could be the fight that Energy won, but Altec's in the middle free firing. He's doing so much. Finally, he goes down. Quas still separated, but Energy are so low. Altec is in the front now, and this is Energy just falling apart. There's the suppression before he can Black Shield. He cleanses, and that's going to try to keep himself alive. He's on to buy time, and Cloud9 will chase forward. Altec flanks again. Santorin dives onto him and tries to kill him.
Don't dive, don't dive, don't dive. Hack him. Go, now we can dive. Now, go.
They try to take the journey. GBM will follow through, but the tanks are in the front line. Altec cleans up with a triple kill. A huge collapse. GBM flashes. High eats a lot of damage as GBM tries to retreat, but there's no escaping that Hecarim. Altec and High in the back, dealing with Santorin. There goes the taunt. Will he be able to get it? Goes for the late slam. He gets a lot of damage, healing up a lot.
In the pit. No smite. It's okay. Access in here. Oh, there we go. Back. Oh, there's an Ezra. I'm coming in. I'm on the way. Nice.
Cloud9 Challenger on the Nexus. 3-0. They get that spot in the LCS.
What a dominant performance.
It's like
We're playing TSM. It's not gonna be an easy series, but we got this.
Yeah.
Pyrian combos in with a nice little transic, flashing forward, cutting him off with the equalizer, but Pyrian has to flash out of the bomb to get to safety. Now Nars in, KFO gets 3, huge on there as match goes down as well, and Echo Fox shot one down, they take out Pyrian!
말자 노. Hey, no worries,
Go forward.
Rumble Rek'Sai, Rumble Rek'Sai. Rumble no flash, Rumble no flash.
Okay, Rek'Sai, come go.
말자.
I got him. Okay, Gragas. Nice. Hey,
I've stunned. Don't tank them.
Tanking.
Yeah. Let's go. I'm gonna go around.
And welcome back, Phoenix One. Glad to have you.
They did it. They had a super strong end to the regular season.